It's on. Is that better? Can we talk closer? Okay, I'll get real close. How's that? So if you haven't been here before, we are the America's largest producing theater in the smallest community, and we are the largest producing theater in Florida. Many people think that we host traveling shows. We do not. We actually cast and have all of our talent down from New York. We direct, produce, we have choreography, designers. Everyone comes here to Riverside. They have rehearsals, and the shows that you see are all original to Riverside Theater. So welcome to the theater. With that, I'm going to introduce Arena to you. I think you all know her. Everybody, thank you for coming out.
Can you hear me now? Yes. So, we're all here tonight to celebrate the momentum of Three Corners. This started in 2019, and we've now got 4 RFP responses, which is really, really exciting. Some of them here on the screen will be rotating. I want to start with a couple of thank yous. First to Vero of the O'Hare Group, who reached out to John Moses to see if we could start hosting these here because we got so big. We started with 5 people, and this is where we are now. So thank you to John Moses, and thank you to everyone at the theater for hosting us. Lori, Oscar, Samantha, Lenny. This theater is the glue that holds our community together, and so it's very fitting that we should be here to make these announcements. A little bit of history. It all started with Robbie Brackett and Vows of Dance. I'm kind of fuzzy on the details, but it was back in 2019, and we officially kicked off with Speak Up Vero Beach on November 19. And now it's less than 5 years later, and even with a pandemic thrown in, so even though it seems like a long time, it's really, really been pretty swift. Thanks to City Council and city staff really pushing it along and keeping everything current. So, in the beginning, when we started this, there was a lot of opposition, there was a lot of fear, and a lot of misunderstanding. And Andres Duani, when he came to town, was told he needed to truly engage the community like it had never been engaged before. And I was charged with doing that. And so, standing in front of council, Laura, she put a lot of pressure on me to get this right. Amelie Loy was watching, so we had to really purchase a very expensive software system to get this going. So it started from nothing, we had nobody, and we bought this computer software that helped us get all of you collected and engaged. So, and I think we did it, Laura. I think we did it. Even Amelie Loy, I have some remarks from Amelie Loy that she'd never seen anything like it, so she was happy as well. But we needed to have an unassailable program, and I think we did that. And that's when I met Vicki Gould, who's been a part of this process the entire way. She's been living in Vero Beach, grew up in Vero Beach her entire life, and she was head of the Three Corners Steering Committee. So we've been friends ever since, and it's been very nice. So it's really hard to find someone who loves Vero Beach more than Vicki, except for maybe Deborah Ann Atwell, who I do not believe is here tonight. But when I met these 2 ladies, it was also the time when Andres Duani had suggested we need a younger steering committee to have us. We need a second committee of younger members. And so enter Sydney O'Hare, daughter of Bear Bell. And there was no connection between Let's Talk Vero didn't even exist yet. And along with Chloe Rose, Christine Picorni, and Ben Ehrman, they rallied the troops of young people. An interesting aside is that Sydney's family has been here since the 1920s. Her great-grandparents met at Vero Beach High School. So it's all coming full circle. And here we are today in this room celebrating. And I have to say thank you to all of you for staying engaged and reading the emails, because without your engagement, none of this would have been possible. So it's really exciting. So here we are, 2 council changes. Peter Polk is now our project manager, a lot of pressure on him for RFP responses. And if you Google Three Corners Vero Beach, it's 170,000 hits, so that's pretty impressive. So a little bit of housekeeping here. I just want to advise you, the council members and the other people, the selection committee members, are prohibited from sharing their opinions or getting into too much detail about these plans. Because they're going to vote on them, they have to abide by sunshine laws, which means that they can't even share their opinions. So don't ask them. If you want more information, go to covb.org and look at it. If you want to make comments or ask questions, send them to the city clerk, Tammy Bursick, and we'll probably be doing more surveys, but just understand that elected officials and selection committee members are not free to speak with the public about it. So John, when he speaks to you, will tell you all about the schedule. You have some of those schedules in your hand, and we, of course, will be sending out more emails. But the green dates are open to the public, and that's where you should come and speak up and get engaged, but also through our surveys and through Tammy Bursick, the city clerk. So, yeah, nationally, only 7% of people ever attend public meetings, and that's pretty clear. I mean, it's, council chambers are usually only filled when there is something people are against. So it's really nice to see the community coming together in support of and celebration of the progress we've all made. So with your involvement, that's all changing here in Vero Beach. And we know that local newspapers strive to fill that role of impartiality. But with the rise of social media and information overload in general, it's really hard. So keep your feedback coming here and through the city clerk. Again, thank you, Barabelle, for powering Let's Talk Vero. I couldn't do it without you. It has become a labor of love. Most of you know that I've been volunteering since we shut down the Speak Up Vero Beach platform. I've been doing this as a volunteer effort, but I'm really, really happy that Barabelle has stepped up to empower us. And last but not least, to Jonathan Buckley, who just graduated University of Miami and came back to Vero Beach because we want to make sure the wheels don't fall off. So thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to Laura, and then Jason, and then Mayor Katuya.
Thank you, Arlene. Laura Moss, County Commission, and former mayor, vice mayor, and councilwoman for the city of Vero Beach. And actually, none of the current people serving on city council were there when it started. It was a long-term project. We knew that from the start, but it's finally here. And I couldn't be more excited. Irina did a great job, and Jonathan did a great job in keeping it open to the public. That's always an issue. It's always a problem. What I did while I was on city council, I insisted that city council be part of the steering committee. There were 12 people on the steering committee. There were 5 people on city council. I insisted, you can watch the videos, I insisted that it be on city council on the steering committee, because, why is that? Sunshine law, okay? If we're on it, all of the meetings had to be public, which is what I wanted. I wanted all of the meetings to be public. That was the most important thing to me. I didn't have a particular design in mind. That's not my bailiwick. That's not what I do. What I do as a public servant is to make sure that all of you are included. And I'm happy to say that you are. Thanks to Jonathan and thanks to Irina. I mean, she did an incredible job. Well, look at it. Look around today. I mean, this is her work. This is what she does, and I'm very thankful because that was so important to me that you all be included. I'm very happy to work. I know it seemed like it took forever and a day, but today's the day. So it's very exciting. God bless.
Good evening. Y'all hear me?
I'll keep that.
I'm Jason Jeffries. I'm the planning director. What I'm shifting gears a little bit is I'm going to give you a little update on the downtown master plan. Just to give you, in the beginning, the first week of February, there was this shred week. We had a survey out there, which people responded to. And in terms of where we are with the downtown master plan, right now, DBZ Co-Design, they were the firm that was, we engaged, the city contracted to do the master plan for the city. They held the charrette on the first week of February. Right now, they're working on putting together the report with all the findings and what came out of the charrette week. I expect that to go we'll have the draft available publicly the first week of April, April 5th. And then we have planned, at this point, 2 public meetings for people to give their input. One will be April 18th. That will be with our Planning and Zoning Board. The Planning and Zoning Board is the board that they're designated the local planning agency for the city, and they make land development planning recommendations to City Council. So they'll hold a public hearing on that draft and make their recommendation to City Council. City Council is expected to take up the report on May 14th. So at their regular City Council meeting on May 14th, and that also be another public hearing before City Council. So that is the current timeline on that project. Just to give you a little, Irene asked me to kind of update you on some of the survey results. We had about 650 people respond to the survey, which I think that's a pretty good response survey sample. 60% of the people who responded say they visit downtown often or very often. The places that they tend to visit, like 90% of the respondents said they go to the restaurants. Only 50% said they go to shops or shop downtown. Now remember, downtown is, now we're talking about 14th Avenue. But although I think we surveyed, sometimes I hear out that people have confusion of what is downtown in Vero Beach. And although I think the response back was pretty much people understood that when we're talking downtown, we're talking 14th Avenue, not Ocean Drive. And trust me, I've gotten that from especially people who are, and I think we haven't really dug into the data. My feeling is if people have been here less than 5 years, they think of Ocean Drive, and I've heard that from some people who are newer than 5 years. They think Ocean Drive is our downtown. So anyway, people, 85% of the respondents associate downtown with, again, restaurants or dining, 50% with art or design. So that's kind of how people see downtown. And the other thing is they respond is 40% say they rarely or never shop downtown, and only 36%, and then the next one, sometimes shop downtown. So basically downtown comes across, and I think it's going to be something we're really going to have to focus on as you see the plan, as you see the plan come back in terms of its recommendation. It's really seen as a dining district. And the question we have kind of at the city is how do we differentiate downtown from what we're going to be doing with Three Corners or with Ocean Drive. So I think some of that focus will be on it being more of a downtown district than trying to attempt to make it into a shopping district. And we did get a good response on people being interested in housing downtown. Saying, if you had watched the charrettes, or you also can go on the website, you can see the Friday evening presentation, the ideas that came out of that, the charrette week. One of the main interests is how to do, or how could we get more housing in downtown. So combining its downtown district with additional housing, there's a lot of interest in that. And then some of the areas we need to improve in downtown is parking, lighting, and I think you'll see some concepts and different recommendations on how to improve parking and lighting in downtown. So that's really kind of the survey responses. Any questions? What, Q&A? Oh, okay, and I'll just turn it over to the mayor.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody here to the Riverside Theater. I appreciate you coming out on a Monday night and to listen to what we have going so far for the RFP process. I'll try to answer some questions later. As Rita said, we are purposely vague tonight. because of the sunshine laws, there's certain things we can and cannot say, and we're going to try to adhere to that. We have some other council members over here in the audience, and because of that, please accept some things. Okay. So before I get into the process of what's happening with the RFPs, from my point of view, 3/4 is one-fourth of the puzzle of how we're going to drive the economy in Vero Beach. And you say, what do you mean by that? Well, Vero is the city of Vero Beach. To give you the statistics that I've thrown out, there are 17,000 people, and I'm rounding up, by the way. There are 17,000 people in the city of Vero. There are 170,000 people roughly in the county, but there are 100,000 people who use Vero Beach as an address. The city of Vero has become the center of a donut, per se. Use that analogy. And the county is growing up rapidly around it. And when that happens to a city of our size, who's only going to be growing at about 1% over the period of time that everybody's handing out statistics on population growth in our county, there's a disproportionate burden is placed on us, our city, to support what's happening around in the county. And so what that means is, and it's always near and dear to your heart, and this is some real estate folk out here, the millage rate, okay? Because everybody is worried about the millage rate. So when you're trying to, if you want to look at government as a business entity of sorts, how do you enhance your revenue? One of the ways you enhance your revenues, of course, you take taxes, and that's part of your revenue base. But what we have to do, in my opinion, is capitalize on the growth in the county. And one of the ways, as Jason had described, is the revitalization of downtown. And the other way is 3/4. 3/4 to me is one of the 4 economic drivers that we have for our city in general. The other one is, of course, relocation of the wastewater treatment plant, which is very synergistic with what happens in 3/4. Without one, you can't have the other. The other one is, of course, what's going to be happening over at Marina, and the other one is what Jason had mentioned, the downtown master plan and all the components of that. Together, that gives us a good base to capitalize on what's happening around us what's happening around us in the county. But you got to do that in mind of what I call, the Vero Beach brand. So when we look at the proposals, at least when I view the proposals, as, when I'm viewing them as what I believe as a guardian of the Vero Beach brand and a protector of that brand as we go forward. And I think we all understand what our brand is. It's a low-key approach. It's a city that is trying to be synergistic with its environment. Entertainment and the arts are high on our priorities. Recreation is high on our priorities. And involvement in both our citizens is one of our priorities. So when you look at that, from my point of view, is how I'm going to be evaluating the RFPs. But to go over the process, all the proposals are in. We have 4 proposals. April 26th, from 9 a.m. the process will continue this way. On April 26th, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., the selection committee will be ranking the proposals. That is a public meeting. So I encourage everybody who's interested to see what the initial rankings are to show up to that meeting and listen to the evaluation committee and how they have ranked them and why they have ranked them in that order. On May 13th, from 12:30 to 5 p.m., the selection committee will begin their interviews, and because we had 4 responders, they're going to be interviewing all 4 proposals. We didn't have to do a winnowing process, so we're going to interview them all. Then, on May 17th, from 8:30 to 12:45 p.m., it's kind of specific, but the selection committee is going to continue with their interviews, because of the length of the interviews, they had to split them, and because of time and calendars of the different people in the committee, and there are 7 individuals in the committee, 4 staff and 3 from the citizenry. So they had to coordinate the schedules, and those schedules were coordinated that way. On May 17th, from 2:30 to 5, the selection committee will discuss its rankings post-interview, which you see how that's going to come about based on your initial recommendations. They'll then restate their recommendations post-interview. Then on May 28th at 9:30 a.m., the city council will make its selection. Now, the interviews are closed to the public. So those 2 interview processes are closed to the public when interview the RFP respondents. And that's by public statute. The meeting in the afternoon is open to the public, and the meeting, of course, on the 28th is open to the public. So I think when you look at, when I view the 4 proposals, we have 4 excellent proposals. We have 4 companies who provided proposals based on what DPZ had provided in their master plan. You can see that they paid attention to what the city wanted. And I have had the honor of beginning the process from the beginning, because I sat on the steering committee. So from 2019 through now, I've been part of this process as we worked the process through all the different phases that it had to go through. We had a very well-defined RFP that went out to prospective developers. And it was a difficult RFP. The RFP we sent out, the requirements we gave, were very difficult from a developer's point of view, because we did not have a residential component on this. And that is, I'm not a developer, but as I hear, that is one of those key portions of a proposal, or when you're developing that's key to some developers' care about. We were very specific on what we wanted there. We were very specific, we wanted a lot of green space. And we've got 4 quality proposals. To me, that was, when you compare, to me, that is a testament to the city and who Vero Beach is, and where Vero Beach sits when people view Vero Beach through the prism of wanting to be part of a brand that has been built over a number of years. Because when you compare them to some other proposals that have been recently done close by to one of our neighbors, you can see that our proposal was much more difficult for people to respond to, and we actually got more respondents. And to me, that's a testament to where we live and the folks that are here, and how we go about doing business in Vero and what we consider to be important to us. So that, to me, is a kind of wrapping up what's happening. I can try to answer some generic questions, if there's such a thing as a generic question, and we can go from there. So, yeah. Anybody have a question?
So on the May 28th, that resolution will be final, announced, done deal, and everything will be.
There will be a vote at that time, yes.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, I'm sorry. So the question was asked, on the 28th, is that when the selection process is finalized, the city council will make their selection and a vote will be had? Yes. The answer to that is yes. It happens on May the 28th. Just on the, that's just on who the developer is. Okay, so we'll pick, there's 4 developers, and just in case the developer, this is kind of in the order I received the proposals from our purchasing department. So it's not, I'm not ranking these. First one is Third Path Services, second one is the Edgewater Group, the third one is Sude, and the 4th one is Vista Blue Venture Partners.
Where are they from?
Well, good question. All but one of them has a Vero Beach component somewhere within their group. Clear Path is out of Bloomington, Indiana, but they have a Vero Beach person involved, local person here. Edgewater Group, Pompano, I believe they're out of Pompano. Sude, or Edgewater's out of Fort Lauderdale, maybe Sude is out of Pompano. They have I believe a Johns Island individual involved with their group, and Vista Blue Ventures is have a component from Johns Island involved in the Indian Shore, so that's local. So hopefully that answers your question.
John, we're going to ask that anyone who has questions speak into the mic so that everybody can hear the questions, and you don't have to repeat them, and we can record it. So are there other questions?
City of Vero Beach. Who can vote for this? The city, there really is no vote on this other than the evaluation committee will make its evaluation selection, and the city council will then make its recommendation on approving the developer to go to negotiations.
Do the RFPs have a completion date included in it? RFPs, do they have a set completion date? So, yeah, when is the estimated completion date?
They all vary. They all vary. Yeah, they have a construction schedule, so you can go on, if you want to look at, they all vary. I can't tell you
I mean,
specifically.
is it 5 years, is it 10 years? I mean,
No, it's not 10, it's somewhere between, if I can remember offhand, it varies from 4 to 6.
With the different plans, you said that there are individuals within Vero Beach that are associated with those companies.
Say again?
You said that there are 4 different companies.
I think if, yes, and if you're interested in, I want to be purposely vague, because actually I want you to go out and look at it. So go on site, pick up the proposals, and you will see who these people are. They'll give a description of who they are, what they do, and how they're a part of the, how they're a part of each individual proposal. I mean, it really gets detailed on their participation in each group.
And would this be a general search?
City site, excuse me?
Would this be a general search?
No, if you go on the city's website,
Yes.
you will find the proposals ready for you to review.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
How would you characterize the city's confidence now in its, with regard to financial capacity and firm commitment of these bidders as compared to the information you expect to have by the end of May? What do you have now versus what you expect to have then in terms of evidence of the due diligence of the financial commitment?
So, let me try to see if I heard that right. What's our confidence level in their abilities to execute on this?
What's the basis for your confidence now as compared to what you have in May? How much of the decision-making between now and the end of May is based on how these pictures look and et cetera, versus
That's a
financial
very good
capacity?
question. And I was remiss in adding that part of the evaluation process is going to be a detailed financial analysis of each of the proposals done by an independent consultant called PFM, which is a nationwide consulting firm that specializes in consulting to municipalities regarding financial issues. They're going to do a review of this, and they're going to feed back on the feasibility of those 4 proposals, and also on a feasibility and whether or not the firms involved, the partnerships, the developer consortiums, whatever you want to call them, can deliver on that promise. Is that kind of answer? Okay, thank you.
John,
Yes.
I'm a long-term resident of Vero Beach, and I just want to make a comment and then ask you a question. I congratulate and commend all of you who are involved in this project for an excellent job. I mean, it is something that probably the city of Vero Beach has never seen before from the standpoint of quality and competency. You have really taken what the public had voted upon and given you responsibility for and turned it into a great proposal. My question is that I think you might have left one thing out of your overall comments, and that is you might have a great three corners, and you might have a great downtown, but if we don't have what I feel is the base of our being, which is the Indian River, in tip-top shape, we're going to lose it all. And that is a very fragile situation. Do you all have any thoughts about that?
Well, yes, I do. I mean, I will only speak to the city, because I can't speak to the county, and I obviously can't speak for the state. The city of Vero, for a city our size, and the amount of space we actually take up in the Indian River Lagoon, is, I think, is going beyond any city that I know that currently populates the lagoon, at least within the Treasure Coast area. And the reason we've done this, we have a pipeline that we're working with Johns Island Water, of which we are taking water from the main relief canal. We're processing that water, and we will pipe it over to Johns Island Water Management, which they will use to replace, currently they use potable water to water their golf courses and lawns that are part of the community. This will replace it, and so that will help the aquifer from that standpoint. It will take pollutants that would normally end up in the lagoon, and it will then be able to distribute reuse water to the rest of the island at some time in the future. That's number one. Number two, we have a fully engaged step system from managing waste. It's fully deployed throughout the city. Not everyone's hooked up to it. Something that we're going to be actually approaching on a degree tomorrow's city council meeting. But it's by mandate, by 2030, septic to sewer conversions have to happen per, state unfunded mandate, but it's a state mandate that we have to do. The city's prepared to do that right now. We don't have to worry about installing a gravity-fed system. We have the step system that's been deployed on the island and on the mainland and ready to go. So we can actually respond to that. We're part of our stormwater utility. We are now, in fact, it's in tomorrow's meeting at the city council, we'll be laying out our plans for how we want to deploy flood management and also stormwater management as we go forward for the next 5 years. We've gotten some grants for littoral mats to be placed in very strategic parts of the lagoon. So we're trying to do our part the best we can. And for a city our size, I think we're doing a good job. The issue is a big lagoon. And you're absolutely correct. Unless all municipalities are contributing to this, and somehow we're always looking to cooperate. We can cooperate with the county. We're looking to do that all the time. Cooperate the rest of the Treasure Coast. But it's really a cooperative effort to clean up the lagoon. But I think from the city standpoint, we're doing the best we can based on who we are. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, John. That was a great question, and we at Let's Talk Vero are going to pursue that further because it's something that's raised pretty frequently. I just wanted to say that everyone who wants to see the plans, it's www.covb.org. We'll send all this out in follow-up emails, but it's www.covb.org, and you go to the planning tab. Is it planning and development tab? There's a planning and development tab, and then on the left you'll see further tabs.
I believe they have it on, it's actually, if you go right to the city's homepage, there's a link at the bottom, takes you straight to the page that Irina is also direct, there's a direct link to it.
Okay, good. And if there are any more questions, I've got a question here, and if there are any others, let us know. We'll bring the mic. Okay, good.
I have a quick question. If I recall correctly, the four proposals range in cost from $500 million down to $85 million, and that's a pretty big swing. In your experience, is it unusual to have that large a swing in the four different RFPs? And how does the cost of the project affect the citizens?
Well, they're all good questions. I think the range, I think, is indicative of the approach each one of the developers took to DPZ's plan. And how they spun it based on their expertise. That's the only way you can put it. I mean, I can't sit in a developer's mind and decide, none of us sat what their philosophy was in approaching the site. I know what the care about because I sat on the committee for what the steering committee was looking for. I mean, I have, and it's available if anybody wants to look at it, the DPZ's original plan for that site that they drew up. So when I look, so those to me are the checklist that I look at when I look at the site. But a developer, they have their expertise. They're looking at the site from maybe a different perspective than we are, and they understand from their perspective, they're looking at a marketplace that they believe will populate the site, generate their revenue. So it's all up to them how they approach it. And I think the difficulties in the evaluation committee. I think they have a substantial job in looking at this and determining does it meet what the steering committee wanted, what the public wanted, and then I think a very key component is, as I mentioned, PFM and what their analysis of this and can it be done, and what type of revenue is going to be generated from this, and therefore, to me, that's going to be all part of the decision-making process, and it'll be all open to the public. Hopefully that answered some of your questions.
It was mentioned at the beginning of these comments about the correlation between the relocation of the sewer plant and the moving forward with Three Corners. I just wondered if you could speak to the scheduling on that and where that all stands.
Well, these actually really good questions because they all come up tomorrow. City council meeting. They're all agenda items, and we're going to get the update on the wastewater treatment plant relocation tomorrow. So, but roughly speaking, the shovel should go in the ground, quote unquote, for the wastewater treatment plant relocation sometime later this summer. Now, I will see the update tomorrow like everybody else. So I will tell you whether or not we're on schedule after I see that update tomorrow.
Will whoever you award this to have the rights to the southern portion of Three Corners?
The southern portion is a totally separate entity.
So, but it would have to look architecturally similar to make it right, it would seem.
Well, correct, I think.
I think.
From my standpoint, yes, but that is, you want to call it phase one, phase two, that's phase two. That is a separate, will be a whole separate proposal. It will be, evaluated separately. It will happen sometime in the future. I think we have enough on our plate right now that I'm not saying we're not going to worry about that, but it's not really something that's really number one on our pecking order. Yeah, her. Excuse me.
You mentioned a little bit earlier about the millage rate and adjusting the millage rate possibly to raise.
No, I didn't mean it that way. What I was trying to get at is that we as a city who are not growing, we're landlocked as a city, but the county, as we all know, is kind of exploding in growth around us, and we see all this, and everything that the county does until they decide someday in the distant future to put a county complex out west somewhere, all transactions that do with the county come into the city. County complexes in the city, county courthouses in the city, and not to offend anybody who's from the county, the best beaches are the city. The arts and entertainment, guess where they're located? They're in the city. So, and when you look at that, so all these people, all this population has to come to our city. And we, as a city council, are the custodians of the city, and we have to, figure out ways to, mitigate that, to, in some instances, take advantage of it when it comes to helping our citizens address that. That's what I look at when I look at these proposals and what's happening in the city in general. Is ways for the city to approach what's happening in the county, and so that we, as a city council, in an efficient, effective way, can manage the city in the best interests of the citizens. So, hopefully that answers your question, almost.
And if it's located in the city, and only the city residents are voting on it, but it sounds like maybe, that the whole county to pay for it. Should the voting?
It's the city's land, it's the city's, it's up to the city residents. The city residents, pass a referendum on this, and they were, and it was, it was roughly 80% to 20% want this to go forward. I think everyone can see the fact of what an impact that this site will have on our city and its county in general. But I'm from my standpoint, I'd rather have it 3 corners in Vero Beach than anywhere else, because I trust the feedback from the citizens of Vero, and I trust the feedback from the city council. And we have, like any other city council, we don't always agree. But the one thing we always are in tune of is for the best interest of the people who have elected us. And I think we all have brought aspects of our backgrounds and knowledge into the decision-making process. And I think that's why the city is approaching some of these projects on good footing, financially sound, and looking to capitalize on this on behalf of the citizens.
I read the local paper today, and there are the 4 proposals.
Right.
And is that it? There can't be another proposal?
No, that's it. Deadline is the deadline.
I like certain things in every proposal. And then I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have an independent guy come in and put the best features of every one proposal together?
Well, I guess in a perfect world, that would be great, but we don't live in a perfect world, so.
idea for tomorrow. How long you think it will take before the wastewater treatment plant would be moved? You know?
Oh, and wastewater treatment?
How much time?
I think it's roughly what, 3-4 years before it's fully
Okay.
gone.
Good to
Hopefully,
know.
well, it's going and being relocated to the airport. That's the next question. It's going on by the airport. Three Corners, because the Three Corners process is going to be a long process of construction, 4 to 6 years. I think is the time frames that many of you talking to who's proposing to look at. And there just have to be a coordination there.
So about
That's-
3 years.
But that's roughly the time.
Good to know.
I'm not here.
I would like to have a brief description of all of the pictures that we're looking at. Are they existing or some of them proposed?
Say again? Those pictures?
It's COPD.org to look at all of them.
Yeah, you can look at everybody's proposal on COD. These are just some of the renditions. I mean, none of this exists except in the minds of the architect.
Okay, so we have time for one more question or two. Is there anyone else? Oh, we have a number. Okay, this gentleman.
Thank you very much for your time. Just a question, is the bridge going to be complete by the time the Three Corners
He said, is the bridge going to be complete in time for all of this?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Originally, when I thought I looked at some plans a while ago, I understood you tonight, you said there would no residential?
Excuse me? No
Did you
resident?
know, is there going to be residential? Because
You want more
originally.
minutes?
Wait,
In the initial, from the steering committee, the DPZ plan had no residential component on this site.
okay, but originally, a while back, there was condos, if I remember correctly. At
There's
one
never-
point, at one point.
But I mean, there may have been, I mean, I can't, okay. I was on the committee, so there was discussion about residential, and it was not, the committee did not pass that on. And we went to referendum, the referendum is based on a, no residential component on it. We're not gonna, there's not gonna be condominiums built, that was what you're alluding to. Okay. That wasn't part of the proposal.
Is there any more questions? We can take probably one more. Oh.
Hi, so with your crystal ball, once the sewer plant's moved, and then we've got the old postal annex across the street, what is any big time frame for all 3 corners? And as Carrie asked, tie the 3 together. Just because one developer gets this corner, do they necessarily get the next 2 corners?
That's a good question. And I think, as we did the referendums, was for one side, one portion of the 3 corners. And just to give you, in the city charter, although we call it 3 corners, in the city charter, it's actually 2 corners. It's the north side and the south side of the Amelie Roy Bridge. Those are the only 2 pieces of property, totaling approximately 32 acres, that are in the city charter that have to go to referendum.
Okay.
The annex across the street was left as a blank canvas, let's put it that way. Depending on who the developer was, in case they needed, in their plan, they wanted to incorporate it somehow into their plan, but that's how that was left. So when the time comes in the future to approach the south side. There's only going to be one entity on the south side at this point, and that's going to be Youth Sailing Foundation. Youth Sailing Foundation will be building their building with a large tank. As you go over the bridge, there's a large tank. The large tank, that area to the shoreline, has been leased by Youth Sailing Foundation. They will be building a new building. They're going to put in a recreation kind of a park and some pavilions there. And they're going to manage that piece of property under a lease they have with the city. So that's going to be completed probably before even Three Corners, the first part of Three Corners. So that's the only part of the south side at this point in time has a commitment for something to go on. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everybody. I hope I gave you some information for my week.
I mean,
should. The city's got a lot ahead of it.